Is it recording now?
It's doing, yeah, it's recording right now. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. All right, action.
Let's get this out of here.
Welcome to the Steve Moy Show. Oh, yeah, gotta have a coaster.
That was a close one.
Could you imagine if we recorded this whole podcast without my coaster?
We look like idiots.
Definitely look like idiots.
Rookies.
Oh,
Okay, that sounds good. I think we're good. This is rolling. If it overheats, we'll pause. That light's on. All right, good.
well, I've been sitting here for an hour. My job here is done.
Okay, we're here.
Welcome to the Steve Moy Show. Is that what it
Yeah.
is? The
This
Steve
is
Moy Show?
The Steve Moy Show. Special guest and feature, Mindy Shiben.
Why's that?
We are releasing the book.
I get to be part of this now?
Wait, didn't you help write the book?
Well, I did rate the foreword, and I am very honored that you asked me to rate the foreword. So,
Yep, a special guest, not only on the podcast, but in the book as well. You know what? Before we get into it, first question, how did you feel about writing the foreword?
I was pretty surprised when you asked me to write it. I mean, I know that kind of thing exists, like writing forewords, but I've never written a book, thought about writing a book, anything.
I think
like
we were like
that.
laying in bed and you were like, do you have a foreword? And I was like,
Did I?
yeah, you asked me about a foreword and I was like,
Or a dedication. I think I asked you who you were dedicating
yeah.
it to, or something like that.
yeah, the preface, all that initial stuff. And then you were like, what about, this and that? I was like, well, do you want to write the foreword?
So it wasn't like spontaneous, you asking me to write it?
I was giving it some thought about some people who, different friends and family in my life. And then when you asked me, I was like, you know what? I think this would be right if you write the foreword. You know me best the last year. I mean, we've been...
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the process of, I guess not a lot of the like raw initial writing, but putting it together and editing it. Been around for a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, and let's elephant in the room here. Initially, when I had announced the book coming out, I knew it was incomplete, and I put a rough timetable of when I would complete it. But that was even before we met.
We were talking I remember when you posted about it. We had already like talked a few times on the phone, but it was before you came out here.
Yeah,
sure.
we had talked several times, couple late night sessions on the phone. I was in Boston, Mindy was in San Diego. I announced the book, but I wasn't done writing it. I had a lot of the chapters done, and then I've been back and forth across the country since then.
Yeah.
And then so I think I added all the personal stories after that. I think that, and then one chapter. There was one chapter. I think the last I added a chapter and then I cut it. I completely removed it. But,
Can I ask what that was about?
so that was about some like.
Or should I ask?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I didn't want to come up with like something that was not fully cooked up yet or scientifically based.
Okay, so that'll be in the sequel, the next book.
Potentially, we'll see. Maybe I'll release it at some point if I can, refine it a bit more.
Bonus
but,
content.
1 second, you just got a little sweat right here. I'll cut it. Don't worry.
I do?
Yeah, you just got like a little wet, or almost like you drank or something.
Well, you got.
Yeah, I'm sweating. Oh no, I'm sweating.
No, you better keep the sweat in.
Okay, yeah, I'm sweating because I heated up this shirt just to get the wrinkles out.
Okay, well, a lot of people that follow you or follow us, I guess, on social media, you've talked a bit about what the book's about, but maybe for anyone that doesn't know or wants, like, can you give like an overview of what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So there's like a main core of 12 chapters that first start off with life, relationships, and then goals and dreams. And then in between that, there are a couple of chapters that are personal stories, because I wanted to also give, not just generalized advice about certain situations, but also some more personal details about me. Now, the way I've decided was that before getting ahead about, what dreams or what goals you are chasing, sort of what your reasoning is behind that, and what your kind of your vision for your life is, understanding what why you have these desires or whatever it may be. And I also think that having a great community, friends, family, and personal relationship, if you are in a relationship or looking for one, getting all of that somewhat in order, working on ourselves in those different ways, and then followed by your aspirations, whatever goals you may have, whatever dreams you may have, not only encouragement to chase them, but techniques and ways that I found effective in order to compartmentalize, organize, and strategies for executing on those dreams.
So do you think, was there a pivotal moment or something that happened in your past? I guess my question is, when and how did you decide, okay, now I need to write a book?
I wouldn't say there was one point in time that it was just sort of like, this is what I must do. But it was just sort of, in this one life that we have, how can we live it to the fullest? How can we get the most out of it for ourselves and for others? And, I think we all have unique experiences and stories. And I just figured, okay, I want to put this together. It's a lot of work. I want to be able to organize it and structure it in a way that makes sense to me. And it's part of my creative drive. I think as long as I remember, I think it started with early games. I used to make like board games and different things like that as a child.
I didn't know that about you. I want to play a Steve Moy board game.
Yeah, funny enough, the first game was Ren and Stimpy's Don't Whiz on the Electric Fence the game. We might cut that part out. But anyways, I made a board game that didn't exist yet with my, my cousins and siblings. Early on, I did that music album. I've done a handful of iPhone apps and web apps and, different creative works that take a lot of effort, right? Like concentrated effort and from the point you decide to not only have the idea, but execute on the idea, there's a long path, right? And I think a lot of times it's hard to keep on going. And just like this book and just like the apps, I take breaks, but it always stays on my mind until it's complete. Mm-hmm. And I think this book was something that I've always wanted to do. I just was waiting for the right time.
And that's one thing I admire about you. Like more than anyone, I'm very, very much entrepreneur type mindset. Like I'll come up with random business ideas, like 10 a day or something ridiculous. Just like, oh, idea. But as far as like, I do kind of need that structure of the 9 to 5. And I need the structure to accomplish things. I'm not the best at like taking an idea and then having that follow through. And I think a lot of people are like that. So in your book, do you like give advice of like how to accomplish those long-term goals? Because I know like the life by design, right? In the title, it's like, it kind of, I think shows that maybe that's what we'll be learning.
Yeah. I think in the later chapters, I start covering that in around 10 and 11 and 12. That's when I start transitioning into, coming up with the goal, how to set it, how to accomplish it, and how to overcome the hurdles. And I think, procrastination, different things that'll come up, whether it's life obstacles or whatever it may be, trying to not only organize what needs to be done, but continuing to stay focused and overcoming, we all go through ruts. You might be super passionate about an idea at one point, and then, you might want to abandon it another day because you feel like it's just too hard or too much work, and just recognizing that that's okay, but staying focused with that goal in mind and overcoming that, taking time to yourself, making sure your mental, physical health is in order. And and I think that was a big piece of this book and what ended up taking so long, aside from the fact that flying back and forth across the country trying to make a new relationship work. No, I'm not at all blaming, but life gets in the way sometimes.
Right.
And it's not in a bad way. The only thing I would have taken back is making the announcement. Mm-hmm. Because typically I don't announce things until they are done and complete. Like when it came to the apps and people knew I was working on the album, but I'm very cautious to not say something that I'm not going to do, Mm-hmm. So when I say it and put, it's already set in stone in my mind, but if I put it out into the world, there's added pressure. but once it's completed, then it's like, okay, it's official, it's done. Aside from talking to your friends and family, your team, you want to tell these people because they're close to you. Whether or not you end up going through with it, they'll help you in that process, right? They'll help you come up with ideas, refine the book cover, whatever it may be, So for me, it was well.
Yeah, let's see this book cover.
Yeah, so this is a little fake it till you make it again. This is the official book cover. Special shout out to Mindy Atwood. She helped me redesign it.
Not me.
Not this Mindy, my cousin
to be
Mindy.
Clear.
Yeah. For the record, this isn't the official book. That's the fake it till you make it part because I put it in and I'm waiting for the shipments to come, and this is filmed preemptively to promote it. So yeah, Life by Design. And just to sort of give you the backstory of the process, you saw the first cover online. I already put that out and it got roasted on the internet for that one. And then this was the original one.
And wait a minute. I just need to give myself a little credit here because when you showed me this photo and this cover, I very lovingly said, I love the picture. The background is a little busy.
Noisy, yep.
Noisy, yeah.
Yep. So then I got a couple more opinions and got help from my cousin. She helped me refine it. We got the first shipment, and during this whole process of learning how to, I've never made a book before and sold it. The colors didn't come out right. But this is, the not for sale copy. This is the author's copy to make sure everything looks good. But this is the official book with, further editing after that. And then this is the official cover, but this isn't the official book. The book is on the way. So yeah, that's sort of how that
my romance novel right now.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Special.
Hey, no.
Wait, no.
Oh, Crying in H Mart. That's a good one.
Special shout to Crying in H Mart. Used to be a frequent shopper back in Boston. Yeah. So yeah, we'll just throw that. Yeah, 1, 2. That's the order right there.
Got a stack of them. I can't wait till we have stacks and stacks of them in our apartment here in just a couple days, in our little 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah. Most of them will be shipped out to the pre-orders. That might be, whatever. And then one other thing, I forgot to pour coffee in my cup. So hang on one second.
As I try to fill this time, how's everyone else doing? I'm not awkward at all. Yeah, I feel like even though this is your podcast, I feel like I'm the interviewer right now. And that's fun. I like this part.
Yeah.
You have to answer all the hard questions. Okay, no, I have a hard question.
I have some questions coming for you later.
Oh, really?
But okay. What do you got for me?
I'm just straight up curious, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Just talking about like your motivations behind writing the book. Do you think you would have written and published a book if you had not been on Married at First Sight?
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think the benefit is that there is an audience now that may be interested. I think one of the biggest challenges, even putting anything into the world, is that starting point, right? Not only do you have to learn the whole process of writing a book, making an album, learning music, art, whatever it may be, but then also putting it out into the world. And that's something I still struggle with. I think a lot of people have a challenge with self-promotion. Mm-hmm. I do think that after the show, that opened me up a little bit more to self-promotion. I think it makes me more comfortable with presenting myself and putting myself into the world. I still struggle with it. The first podcast I released, I think I only promoted it once, but I want to be better about that, because when you take so much time and effort into something that that you believe in and you think what type of difference it could make, you want to be a bit more proactive about that, even though it's a little uncomfortable and there's some resistance there.
Yeah, I do feel like I do think you have a pretty healthy outlook and healthy balance on the self-promotion kind of. Okay, just because I did this show and have this audience, it doesn't make me better than anyone else. It doesn't this or that. But at the same time, you do have this audience. If you can use it for good, putting something out there that can really benefit people. And also at the same time, do something you're passionate about and have more people be able to see that. That's awesome. But I feel like it usually goes one way or the other. Like myself, I'm like, oh my goodness, if I make one story on Instagram, everyone's going to criticize it. Or the other side where it's like, hey, look, now everyone wants to watch my life 24/7. But I think you've really have a good balance. And
yeah, I think I do think it made me a little bit more thick-skinned too as well, because that fear of criticism and whatnot, I think the extent that I or we, as participants in the show went through, it's sort of like, okay, you need to understand what's going on here. You need to understand that everyone's entitled to their opinion and not everyone is going to be your person, the type of person who vibes with your energy or who understands you or who even likes you. And that's okay, right? There's so many people in the world. Some people are meant to be in your life in some capacity and some people are not. And that's, and I think that's sort of an acceptance thing of, hey, this book isn't for everybody. I'm not for everybody, but there are some people that I am for.
That's really a good way of looking at it. And I've learned a lot from you about, I really like how, well, I guess even putting the book out there is a good example. I know that it was not all positive feedback. And to do something like this, you're going to have somewhat thick skin, or else it will really affect you. So I guess for my benefit, if no one else's, can you tell me what the mindset is when you are looking at comments and maybe you do want to take some things in consideration? Do you let it affect you at all? Do you take some things into consideration that people were saying, like when they said change the book cover? But I know it doesn't stop there. Sometimes people say some very unkind things, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think the way I look at that is, and I am somebody who reads the comments. I read it.
You read all the comments.
I read it and I assess it, and I'm like, okay, is there anything productive that can be taken from this? Aside from whether it's a personal jab or something that you might be uncomfortable with absorbing, is there a lesson in this? And if it's just pure, hater, negative energy, okay, we can discard it. If it's something that I could change and I think it would be for the better, whether it's for me or for somebody else, all right, let's take that into consideration. The book cover, I think that was a great advice. I think I put that together. I mean, look how much it's changed. It's a completely different color. It has a different title. I'm not smirking in the way that people, all those things are good. If somebody is interested in the book and that's what they want, why wouldn't I change that? If it's something about me in particular, I think at this point in my life, I can decide how I want to live my life. Most of the time, that's a reflection of what somebody else wants. And I don't need to satisfy somebody else's wants, right? But if it is something that can, maybe I should look at it this way. Maybe I should at least consider this, give it some thought. And then, the rest just sort of discard. Do your best to, sometimes it will get you worked up. It'll get you uncomfortable, but just give it a little bit of time. And it's just like, and then also, protect your energy as well. Like, think about us the last year, right? We go on social media and then we are off for a month or maybe even 3 months at this point, all right? We pick and choose how much we want to put into the world and
oh, you mean on and off as far as posting something?
As far as social media in general.
Yeah, because I look at my social media probably most days.
Yeah. But I mean, every time you post or put something into the world, that's going to have an effect not only on you, but on other people. And if you just want to, I just wanted to focus and execute on this book and the other things that, we've been working on, then I will just leave it aside. And I think, this next coming however long, I'm going to be focusing on promoting this book. So I need to switch gears. It's been a nice break and nice not having to get any negative feedback, but also, not getting the positive feedback of sharing our story or sharing pieces of ourselves. But yeah, I think initially, right when the show ended, that was like a bombardment, right? That whole process.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you as well. While the show was happening and after the fact, it's just a lot of newness and a lot of opinions and a lot of different. It's disruptive to your life.
It's really hard not to get caught up in it too. Like I know for me, my season was airing right as COVID happened. So I was at home, not able to do anything. And so like, oh, this is great. It keeps me entertained. But at the same time, that kept me so, I think it's hard anyway, not to go to social media and see what people are saying about you. But I would look at that stuff for I'm not proud of it, but sometimes like hours a day. And I'm like, I am so glad it just, you really do have to, or for me anyway, just break out of that and really limit the time on social media because unlike you, I don't have as healthy of a mindset on the negative criticism. I know myself though, and I just don't read if a comment is, upsetting or whatever, I just turn it off.
Yeah.
Or snap back. Try.
Resist the urge.
Yeah. But that's much less for me now. I mean, of course, we'll get, some feedback on our relationship, but nobody knows what's actually, it's our relationship. All they see are some pictures here and there. And, and that's great that if people are supportive and happy for us, great. We love that. And if you're not, that's fine too. When we first put, it out there that we were talking, that we were seeing each other, that we were spending a lot of time together, that did make me nervous because I really liked what we had going on so much. And I was just nervous that whatever kind of feedback that we got, what if that influenced us in any way? What if everyone's like, oh no, you could do better, Steve. Don't you? I was just like, oh no. But I really saw, okay, you do like to go on social media a lot and read comments and other posts and stuff like that. But I do like how it doesn't really seem to influence you. I feel like it could have been 100% nasty comments about us and we would still be here, which is awesome.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. And I think, I like that we both sort of have just a healthy relationship in general when it comes to us and social media. We're on the same page. We talk about what we're going to post, what we're not going to post, or just staying off it in general if we want to, Mm-hmm. Hasn't always been the case, but for me and you, it's great,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. On the topic of our relationship and how much we put out there, how about a little status update? I think the last appearance, aside from just a couple posts here and there of us on our travels, we were on the show. What was that? Like 6-8 months ago.
Oh, the special
Castello.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
What's been going on in your love life since then?
Well, I've been seeing lots of guys. No, I'm just kidding.
What's been going on in our love life?
I mean, it's not a lot of change, which is amazing. I was going to use the word boring. I don't know why, but it's anything but boring. It's this relationship where you just wake up in the morning and you just don't have to worry about drama or, like the wrong kind of excitement. To me, excitement is just like waking up, not having anything to do on a Sunday, like, hey, you want to go around thrift store shopping and see what we can find, and just having these little spontaneous adventures, sometimes bigger spontaneous adventures. But I love just being in this place of we're a little over a year of seeing each other, got official somewhere in there, but life is good. It's super supportive and have good stability, and we are still balancing living mostly in San Diego. You're in San Diego most of the time now. I guess you consider this your home now, or you can have two homes. I mean, that's fine, but
yeah, no, I've pretty much been out here all year, and it's April at this point. Your family was just out here. That was great to finally meet.
Got to meet.
It's tough
Steve.
because
So finally, my mom, younger sister, her 4 little girls, and her husband, they came out and spent almost a week here, and that was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
We hit the zoo, the beach. Well, yeah, you guys hit the beach.
Yeah.
No, that was great. It's great to meet them. All right, now tell me this. A couple of chapters in the book about relationships, some dating, some relationships, some relationship issues. What are some of the things that you think make for a good relationship for us? You know, what are some of the things that come to mind when you talk about, hey, this is what is helping make this work?
Well, communication. I mean, I know that sounds like an obvious answer, but for the most part, even when we argue, I feel like we're on the same team. Like we have a mutual respect for each other, and I really feel the energy that even when we're like, okay, I'm going to go on a walk to the bay and I need space, this and that. We both get like that sometimes. It's fine. But even when I'm a little angry, I still feel like deep down, this is a stable, good, relationship. It's okay. We're on the same team. We're going to come back. We're going to figure it out. Life is going to go on. And I know for me, I'll get anxious after an argument, and I'm sure you see that, even because if I don't like, making my partner upset. And then, once we come to an understanding, we apologize if we need to, we get back on the same page, we move forward. I'll still be in a place of just like, oh, are things still okay? I have that anxiety. And I think you have really helped make me see, and maybe in past relationships, I haven't had that stability, that stable partner that is, okay, arguments happen. It's fine. We go on. But I do just feel like, yeah, you've helped me, and together, I know it's not just one way, we've just worked on building, I've said stable like 500 times, but that's for me, like where it's at.
That's the key point. Yeah. A little reassurance goes a long way. Yeah. I think, it's always challenging, right? When you're in the heat of the moment, when you're in that conflict time, if I feel like if I can get to the point where, whether it's a text or some type of messaging that even though I'm upset, I want to resolve this. Whatever it may be, some type of positive energy in that. I feel like that, I don't know. I think it's really helpful, especially when it comes to our conflicts.
Yeah. And one thing that we've had to work through, I feel like we're getting better at it, is like how that space in an argument, I think we both get to a point where like, okay, it'll be healthy to walk away for a little bit and to take space if we haven't resolved it. And it's been, and I can't even think of something recently. So I think we're getting better, but you seem to be more comfortable than I have been with like, okay, it's not resolved yet, but it will be. So we can just, we're fine to kind of, and I'm more like, all right, if there's tension, I can't relax. I can't sleep. I can't, if there's tension, I feel tense, So I think as we've evolved, I've been able to be more comfortable with, okay, some days are a little more tense and that's okay. Steve's not going anywhere. We can have a tiny bit of tension every now and again. So yeah, I think that's one thing that you brought into the relationship where I'm like, how does he feel relaxed if we're in the middle of an argument? And I've been able to kind of match that energy a little bit more and just have it, be okay and let it work out on its own time instead of forcing a resolution.
Yeah, and I think the other piece of that for me is also the resolution process itself, right? Once the energies calm back down, once we identified what is happening, what we could potentially change on both sides, and how we could meet in the middle, that whole process of, okay, maybe there is some things we can do. We can either preemptively know that in these situations, here's a technique, or here's something that we can think of or change and adjust for each other, or recognize, this is a better way to handle this. This is a better way to do this, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're both pretty good about like that negotiation process of, hey, I think that this will help. Well, I think that going back and forth and kind of eventually coming to a resolution that pretty much works for both of us and usually improves the situation in the future.
Yeah, I think that is one thing that we do pretty well. When we do have an argument, I feel like we walk away from everything with something, even if it's very small, but something both of us can, I'll do this more, I'll do that more. And even if it's just okay, I was the one that started this argument for no reason, even if it's just like, hey, I can do better at communicating if I am really stressed from something else. And then what do we both need to do, from that? So.
Yeah. And I think that's a good, rule of thumb in general, like when it comes to relationships and trying to sort out, is this person right for me? Is there things, it's the level of effort someone's willing to put in, right? Sometimes people maybe set in their ways and I'm sure there's things about ourselves that we're probably unwilling to budge on. But if it's something important to the relationship and it's something that can be changed or something, even just being willing to talk about, the issue itself, it's the willingness, the energy that you're willing to pour in to come to a resolution or to make those changes and not see just pattern behavior that keeps on repeating and being an ongoing problem.
Yeah. I definitely the way we argue has gotten a lot better over time. I remember even around the time before we were like maybe even officially together. No, for me, the energy I brought to an argument was kind of based on my fear and like lack of, where is this? What are we kind of thing? And even though I didn't say that when we did have an argument, I guess I didn't feel the stability. And I think that's normal at the beginning of a relationship. But I guess we had, because we did start like investing a lot of time in each other. And there were flights, you'd come out and see me for a few weeks. And then, it'd be like, feel like we had been living together for years. And then you're back in Boston for a few weeks or a month. And then, so it didn't, I would say probably with anyone else in this world, I do not think I would have felt like the stability that a relationship needs to continue. But you did like really provide that for us. I think we both did, and we wanted it to work, so we made it work. But that was difficult to...
The long distance, or what else?
The long distance, but I mean, especially the distance where we weren't established in a relationship yet. Like we started out dating long distance, so you come out here and we would feel, okay, we do everything together for 2 weeks, and then back there, there were sometimes we didn't even talk every day, or every few days or whatever. So it would be just very, very different. And then when we did have an argument, especially, if we were like distanced and had an argument, I just remember like a lot of where I was coming from was not only just the issue that we were dealing with then, but also just feeling this, where is this going? What is our relationship? This is, you're not here, so it's not the same. And, that was just difficult, but it was great because I think having those challenges at the beginning, for me, it's made me feel like very stable with you now. And like we can, take on challenges together, and we do. So
yeah, and one step below marrying a stranger is spending 1-2 weeks to a month at a time with somebody new, and I think that was a pretty unique and I would say risky thing to do in terms of starting a relationship.
Oh right? Yeah, so about that though, I guess your podcast listeners, I don't think many people know about our first in-person date, which was like 2.5 weeks long. So we started talking on the phone very soon after I moved to San Diego, but not even that often. I hit Steve. Should I talk about how I hit you up on LinkedIn?
Yeah,
people know that. Okay. Well, yeah. So
she slid in the DMs, but go on.
No, I was too classy to slide into DMs. So no, I'm just kidding. I was not.
What's a LinkedIn message called? Yeah, like an inbox or something. So
I don't know. So I was in this data science boot camp, and I was excited. I was, about to graduate from the program and had gotten a great job in San Diego. And your season finished while I was in the boot camp. And of course I thought you were handsome, but I also thought you were taken, so whatever. But I followed you and everyone from your season on Instagram, so knew it didn't work out. Still, I wasn't about to jump in your DMs or anything. But a few months after that, I was building a LinkedIn profile because we had to do that in the program that I was in. And I don't know. I don't even remember why I chose to message you. I was hoping, I think I just like was flipping through Instagram
it was data science, right?
Well, yeah, a data science program, and knew Steve had a background in like software engineering. Yeah. And of course, I don't know the difference in any of that, coding, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember exactly what went through my head. I knew you were single. I thought you were attractive or whatever, but we hadn't talked or anything. I think we followed each other on Instagram. So I just sent you a request, sent you a message. We had no one in common, and then didn't hear back from him, moved to California, blah, 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 started my job. Maybe a month later, I got a message back. Oh, hey, yeah, Mindy, what's up? And Steve loves San Diego. So we talked about San Diego. Oh, you're in San Diego. That's awesome. And then we decided to talk on the phone. And we just had just talks as friends, but long ones. We talked about anything and everything. And I kept you up until 4 a.m. Boston time a couple times. But that was probably, I don't know, maybe between 5 and 10 phone calls from fall to
the new year. Yeah,
the new year. I feel like there was probably a month or so in there that we didn't even talk. I don't know. We were both doing our own lives and just, enjoying a new phone friendship. But there wasn't even, we didn't even flirt really or anything. Yeah, we said some nice things, but there wasn't any necessarily romance.
Maybe a light, jab here and there.
I was hoping there was.
But it was professional though, because we were on LinkedIn.
I mean, I would say I was developing a little crush. I at least enjoyed talking to you a lot, but I had no idea. And I just had a feeling that, I found you attractive, and I had a feeling I would feel attracted to you in person. At least I was hoping so. I already had a little crush building, but I would have been fine if it was a friendship vibe. But yeah. So no, Steve said on one of our talks, I think we had said, "Hey, come out to San Diego sometime." Blah blah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, if we do this, how long is a reasonable?"
Oh yeah, that was over a text message actually, because I was thinking, all right, if I just said, I have no idea. However long I have, at that point, I had a 2-bedroom apartment. So I'm like, I have a room. You can have lots of privacy.
And I was also thinking okay, well, I can come out there. I'll visit my my brother and my family out here. Maybe I won't even do the whole time there. I'll just kind of, whatever, I'll split it up and make it a West Coast trip.
But I was still thinking, if I'm just however long. 3, maybe 4 days, 3 nights, 2 nights. Okay, so a weekend, that would be, all the way out to California. So we'll probably do a 3-day weekend, maybe a 4-day weekend. And he's like, so do these dates work? And it's almost 3 weeks.
I was like, what about 1 to 2 weeks? And you were like, yeah, no, that would work. And I was like, well, really? Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll come for a few days or whatever, and then I'll go up to LA, go back to San Diego. And then that didn't end up happening. It ended up being straight through to
2.5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, 2 and a few days. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was working through most of that time other than weekends. So, we of course had a lot of time to ourselves during that time too. But yeah, every night saw you and we kept it friends for a while, for a bit.
For a week or so. No, because then that was also the other part of, hey, we're in this new space, and it's you don't want to make a move and make the energy weird. So it was all right, let's just ride it out for a little bit, see how things go.
No, that was a lot of fun. But because it wasn't you made a move in the perfect amount of time, because we did have our first weekend together. We went out and did a lot, beach hopping. And I just kind of thought, I'm like, he's probably going to kiss me today, isn't he? And he didn't. And so I'm like, does he? Maybe he just see me as a friend. But then you did very soon after that. So it was good time. You kept me on my toes.
Had to keep you guessing.
Yeah, you did. You did for a second. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how it all began.
Happened.
Yep. And then, yeah, it's been back and forth ever since. Mainly back.
Mainly fourth. Wait, where's back?
I guess
Where's fourth?
back to San Diego for me, fourth. Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this last year, yeah, I think it's a gradual increase, right? It was like the frequency was, a couple weeks here and there, maybe a month back and forth. Mm-hmm. And now it's to the point of majority, almost all the time here. I get home here and there, but it's way shorter. Like, the first trip most recently was, I don't know, 10 days and then 6 days. So
yeah, you've been back like for, I guess, all in all, about less than 20 days, but almost 20 days, like since the new year.
Not even. I think the last one was 6 and the first one was 10. So yeah, like 16 days, 15 days.
But then, okay. I guess I'm counting like the beginning of that.
Oh, wait, because
but you came out super quickly.
I came out on the 3rd. Yeah.
Let's count the exact 19 days.
Yeah, but because you were in Boston, you flew home after New Year's. I came out a couple days after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And now look at us. We got a book on the way.
I love how you keep saying we. Baby, this is you. Okay, I did write the foreword. So what? I get credit for being an author in the book now?
Let's just find that little section.
Oh.
Yeah. I changed the spacing, but it's still... Oh, wait. Did I? Oh, here it is. Forward. Who's that by? See, I didn't write this. This is definitely not my writing.
I would never put my name into that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So it's our book.
I like it. Okay. Well, Steve Moy, what do you like to do in your free time?
I like to watch videos about firewalls. And
I know. What a nerd.
Mindy gives me, I don't know what it is, grief, because she'll be like, oh, what are you watching on my YouTube video? And it's like some high-tech thing, and she's like, it's Sunday. Like, what are you doing?
Well, also, I'm like staring at computers all day long at work. And when I come home and you're like, hey, check out this code that I wrote today and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, nope, not going to look at a computer. You can tell me about it. But yeah. Yeah.
But we did work on our first coding project together somewhat recently. Probably maybe not get into it, but a little machine learning.
Oh, yeah.
Data science.
And I've been wanting to do a project with you for a while now. So we wrote a song together. Yeah, we made our first song. It's pretty awesome. I was very excited about it.
Yeah, you were pumped. Maybe I'll even play it in the background.
Nope. You're not going to play it in the background.
Well, it doesn't have lyrics yet, but it just has a beat.
But
yeah. So music, been getting back into music, which, it's funny. I finished that album 20 years ago, and I never completed another song since. I might play with music, I might make a beat or whatever, maybe write some lyrics, but I'm like, because of how much effort it took to complete that album, I just was like, I don't want to go down that road again because I know how much effort it takes, and it became not my passion anymore. But I do like having it as a hobby.
That was so fun, though. I know I was just like geeking out, and you probably thought I was so stupid when the day that we
made the song.
You're just like, oh, come up with a little,
chord progression.
On the piano, and I was geeking out to see everything that you were able to do with it. We should do that again.
Yeah, I'm always down for that.
That was just like a month or so ago.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks, a month, something like that.
Yeah. I played our little song like over and over and over. Like, this is amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, of course, don't forget about all the adventures you've gone on this year. You're a snowboarder. You're a snowboarder now. Well, but like I'm saying first time stuff for you. Snowboarding, ice skating. Oh, I guess you've ice skated before.
I've ice skated before. I've skied before, but never snowboarded. So that was a new one.
That was so fun. You're so good. I've never seen anyone that good at snowboarding their first day trying it.
Big Bear. We took a trip to Big Bear. We did a bunch of road trips to LA and to national parks and all sorts of places.
Rock climbing, bunch of random stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mindy has 2 surfboards, but we haven't gotten to that. It's been a little too cold. This I still got to get my jacket.
When I knew I was going to move to San Diego, I just had this image in my head of okay, I'm gonna live on the beach and go surfing every morning, and that's just gonna be my thing.
So how did you end up needing 2 surfboards?
Wait, how did I get 2 surfboards? End up getting?
Yeah, you move to San Diego, you buy 1 surfboard. That makes sense.
Well, okay, so I took a couple beginner lessons, and you start out on a foam surfboard, a long foam surfboard. And I got like the super, super basic one. And not saying I ever should have graduated beyond that. That's where I'm still at. I've got, less than 10 times. I pretty much most of the time ride the whitewater. When I did it last time, trying to ride the waves like as they're breaking. That's hard. But yeah, so I thought maybe, I know that they say learn on a really long board. I thought maybe that one that I have is almost too long, because my balance, I'd say, is pretty decent from skating and stuff. I have a pretty good, and snowboarding, like a pretty good body awareness and stuff. And I kind of thought that thing was a little bit too bulky even to move in the water. So I'm like, maybe I should just get one a foot shorter. This is a really long story about why I have 2 surfboards. Whoa. But basically, the other, I haven't even used it. Okay. And that's like a nicer...
so it was an upgrade.
A little bit, it was
an upgrade.
I guess, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're taking it to the next level.
But they should be perfect for us.
Yeah, and that's one other thing about Mindy that I think people know, but I think, and also another relationship point, because I don't think you need to have not all your hobbies, but a lot of hobbies but it's nice to have somebody who is into similar things, whether it's something you've never done before or something that somebody's willing to do with you that you're into that they've never done before. I feel like we're both pretty open to new experiences.
Yeah. But we have our own things too.
Yeah. And then, she's at ballet like 3 to 4 times a week now. And I feel like, in our late age at this point, mid-age or whatever you call it.
I'm still in my 30s. Okay.
To still remain that active, and that's something I appreciate about you.
I think I even have like more of an appreciation for it now, because you do start to see in your late 30s, some people before, I don't know, it's different for everybody. You're like, wow, okay, I'm not going to be physically able to do all the stuff to the level I want to forever. So yeah, now when I go do ballet, I love it. It's a passion of mine, and it's not like I was some advanced ballerina growing up. I was a figure skater, but now I can see myself improve in, my 38-year-old body, and I don't have any goals to do anything performance-wise or crazy with it, but it's just that personal, how good can I get, and it's, I love it. I appreciate it. I think even more just having it be about just the class, the dancing in itself on the day-to-day, instead of just trying to become something like it felt like as a figure skater. So
yeah, and I'd imagine, for that whole process of figure skating with the goal of high-level competition, to now have something that you are passionate about, but you don't need to take to an extreme that it's going to, I think... For anyone who's dedicated to a process to the point where you want to compete at that level, it takes something, it takes a lot from you, and it's not always, this is so fun. Yeah.
And I think you realize at some point that you're doing it for everyone but yourself. Or maybe you are doing it a bit for yourself, but it's divided. Your goals become it just becomes so complicated with why you're doing that, what you want out of it, who you're doing it for. And now there's no question about it. When I go to ballet class, it is for me, how it feels in my body. It's all just for me, for the moment. And it's beautiful. It's wonderful. And I love it. And I feel like you have a lot of passions like that too. And and our passions change. A year ago I was super into rock climbing, and I give myself that freedom and it's just a way to enjoy life, movement, and doing physical things. So, and I love, that's an example of a different passion, but I can still come home and say, hey, I can do this now. Watch me do my pirouettes and stuff like that. And we're supportive of each other's passions. I love that, but don't have to be super involved. But yeah, I love how supportive we are. When I'm motivated to do something, when you're motivated to do something, it's, we encourage each other to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's nice. I think, especially, when it comes to things that don't always involve each other, right? Like
Yeah.
I've never been to your ballet class, and
You're welcome.
and well, is there anything that I do that you aren't involved in, or like you want nothing to do with, but you're happy that I do it?
Well, I would say a lot of your projects, like the podcast program that you're doing, not this, but like the coding side. It's something. I'm not a developer. The data science end is a little different, so I know a little about it, but definitely don't know. And I don't want to say it's not like I don't have an interest, but I have an interest for you. I have an interest in what you're accomplishing. I don't care to sit down and understand the code. No offense, but when it's great to just hear, when I come home and you're telling me about the issues that you encountered and how you're getting around them. I hear that passion in your voice and you're telling me about it. And so, yeah, it's not really about the actual issues. It's about your passion towards them. It's like, I want to hear about it because it's important to you. And I guess you don't have like I would say that's the equivalent of like ballet, or the feeling I get out of it. When I come home and I'm like, hey, let me tell you about class tonight. It's not that you actually give a damn about the class, but it's like, oh, my girlfriend's excited about, something she feels good about. And
or you made a new friend, or the professionals were there and they
and the class was really hard because there were exactly. See, listen.
Cool. Yeah. All right, next topic. What do you think about the current season of MAFS, season 17?
You're going to make me admit that I still watch MAFS. We still watch MAFS.
Yeah, we still watch MAFS.
Steve, though, gets so excited for it. When it's Wednesday, he wakes up like, ooh, guess what?
It's MAFS Wednesday.
It's MAFS Wednesday. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, they don't make couples like they used to. But I mean, come on. I was on season 10. And so that was like 7 seasons ago. And it was still pretty rough then. MAFS has a way of making people seem a lot crazier on the show than they are in real life, with a couple exceptions. Yeah, when we filmed the special that we did together, since you were only there for the last couple hours, I forget what order they aired it, but basically, like, we had a long morning, like a 5-hour shoot that was mostly cut out, that was just Lindsay just going off on stories left and right, and it was so bad. The host, Monique, she would ask the group a question. So, about our MAFS experiences, did anything not get aired that was juicy or something like that? And she would just use that opportunity to rip Mark to shreds, and you before. And so everyone would just be sitting there, and she would be giving this monologue for like 5-6 days. And it was just so awkward. They cut out most of it, but we were all just like looking around at each other like, what is this right now? Like, you need to get a diary and write in that every night, because, oh my God.
I was thinking about that because that was, well acquainted at that point. I know what I'm getting myself into, but everyone else on that stage had their first experience with Lindsay. So, and actually that might be a point of view thing already. So they had been filming all morning. I'm coming in as the special guest, and so I go to the back of the studio. I'm coming in the back door, and it's in between sets. And they're like, all right, they're prepping me at the door, and I can hear everyone on stage, but I can't see anyone. And I just hear people chatting, like, oh, I wonder who the special guest could be. Just joke, Oprah Winfrey or whatever, just throwing out all these names. And I'm just sitting there. And then at the last minute, I hear Lindsay go, I bet it's Steve Moy. And then they go, oh, welcome back to the MAFS Tell-All Special. And I'm just like, oh, boy.
Yeah, based on how I knew that you weren't necessarily friends, and I knew she had been pretty rude, just like randomly on social media unnecessarily.
Yeah, big fan of the book. She's looking forward to it.
I think she may be the first person that I like actively unfollowed. I used to follow all the participants. I don't know, do that anymore because it's, many seasons after mine now. But I just, how, I had to, just the way, she insulted you and other people and just so combative. I'm like, this is I can't, I don't want this content coming at me, when I open my social media. And, so I didn't expect her to be, I guess, that kind and graceful when she was talking about her experience with MAFS, but I did not expect it to be as bad as it was. But based on how the morning was when you came out, I was like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't have suggested to Steve, let's do this together, because I'm like, this is not going to be good. I didn't understand. Well, it didn't make any sense, but her hatred towards you, that did come out in the part that wasn't aired, when she was just talking
about her
shit
former
about
castmates.
yes,
yeah.
Just and then you got these people that are just like she didn't have to say your name, just like writing books and using the show and experience to do shit like that. And I'm like, no. It just
she
didn't make
fired
any
in
sense.
every direction too.
She fired in every direction. It was you, obviously Mark.
Chris too.
You, Mark, Chris.
Yeah, even when I was on stage, she fired at Chris.
Yeah. Just about.
Not Big O though. She don't want that smoke. Well, thanks for having my back. Mindy held it down. I like the specials. After the season and everything, like where it is now, it's kind of settled out. Whatever. I mean, you're not going to always just have a major conflict with somebody on the stage. So that's a kind of a rare situation. But for the most part, like, I still had fun, Yeah,
it was a fun day. And honestly, for me, it was fun to be sitting next to someone that I knew was attracted to me for once, or just I didn't think I would experience that with MAFS after a couple days into my marriage, Yeah,
because if you
gave
think
up
about
on
it,
that, and then going back there with you, it was like, oh, I'm sitting down next to someone I care about, and this is fun. This is what it was supposed to feel like the first time, I guess.
Because if you think about it, like, even if it's the reunion or any special, whatever it may be, it's usually the singles and the partners, right? Like if somebody is still together at the reunion, they're sitting together. So yeah, that was your first time sitting with your partner.
Getting to sit on the couch instead of the chair.
The two-seater versus the one.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, that's as bad as it can get, right? And we lived through it, right? It's
that had reunion vibe. That had reunion energy. That was
that
giving
part
reunion.
did, yeah. But everyone else, no, that was a fun group.
But it was great to meet everyone else.
Oh yeah, hang with everybody, and then of course we do a nice little dinner afterwards.
Awkward dinner afterwards, and because everyone on the stage was all together at the table.
Yes, Lindsay was at this dinner.
Yeah, I remember walking up there. We had texted the group, "Oh, we're going upstairs," and we had ended up being the last ones up there. And then we see Jeff T and Shawnee's immediately read the situation, and they get up and readjust the table so that we don't have to sit next
I didn't notice that. That is so funny.
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
I have a question. We haven't talked about this before, but I think it's like in a roundabout way. Maybe we have, but I think we need to do a straight up comparison. Who was on the crazier season 10 or season 14? And let's start with who had the messier reunion, season 10.
First, in the comments below, which season was crazier, 10 or 14?
Wait, crazier? We need to define crazy. Was it messier or
wilder?
And are we including season aftermath or just the season? Let's say season up through when the reunion and when the reunion finishes.
Okay, season.
Or
sure.
What was aired on Lifetime. Okay. So what do you think?
I watched your season in preparation for going on my season.
Probably for the best.
to get an idea of what because I actually hadn't seen the show before. But
and you were like, yeah, maybe I'll be matched with someone as great as Mindy. I should do this, right? Is that what you thought?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And then So I at least had an inkling of, hey, this could go pretty south pretty quickly, you know, or it could also go well, because just like in that season, you know, Jessica and Austin, and that percentage of couples that had made it at that time was a lot higher back then. So I was like, you know, what's the divorce rate in the U.S. anyways? Not too far off from the MAFS divorce rate at that time. but yeah, when it comes to Crazier, see, you know what? They're just so different. That's the one thing about the show that's so unique.
Are they though?
The structure's the same, but the cast is so different. Like the personalities.
So I would say if I was being, it's really hard to be objective, because I think that you can easily
when
say
you lived it, yeah,
right. I think you can easily say, you know, me, because yeah, exactly. I lived it, but I would say I think season 10 Crazier reunion, and season 14 Crazier overall though.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Because I think some of the stuff that came out on season 10 reunion, on season 14 reunion, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't really remember everything. I don't feel like there were a lot. I think what made season 10 so crazy is the surprises. We had cheating that came out. We had scandals. We had restraining orders. Somebody wasn't allowed to be there because they had a restraining order. Of course, we had storming off the stage. That probably happened at yours, I'm guessing.
I think Alyssa must have. No, I think it was Alyssa that
time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But like your season, you had the couple that made it like even like maybe the record for the shortest marriage in history. Chris and Alyssa. Yeah. So you had them. Then what's crazy though is most couples said yes on decision day on yours.
Oh yeah, 4 out of 5.
So that's true, but it doesn't make your season any less crazier. If anything, maybe crazier. Yeah, and then no offense, but you didn't in that season. Even the couples that said yes, you didn't have like a Jessica and Austin. So that's why I'm giving you the crazy. I think all of the couples, you probably the least, but had like a little bit of crazy too, a lot. And then you had a couple that were, you know, my season had a couple, including my own, that were like dumpster fires. But yeah, so those are the reasons I would say 14 was overall messier, because you didn't have a Jessica and Austin, and
there was a lot happening.
Yeah, there was someone showing up drunk at her wedding. And
you're firing a lot of shots today.
You had good people all over the place.
We didn't dive into it yet. We were just about to talk about the current season.
Yeah. Do you think I don't think either of our seasons were as messy though as the season right now. Do you?
It's just, that's the thing. It's so different. You think this one's the messier?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't even know where to start. First of all, the choosing of participants. I know it's been talked about a lot. I'm sure the, people that they chose, it's not like there's anything wrong with the point in their lives that they're at. But I mean, selecting someone that has never been in a relationship to marry a stranger on a reality TV show. Sorry, but matchmakers, what were you thinking with that one? And again, she's sure a lovely person in some ways and in a different setting environment, but
this is
a show like this is not going to bring out the best in somebody that is in a party stage of their life, that has not had a relationship, that is just like, hey, I'll settle down and be married now. That's not a good idea.
Fair.
It's just not a good idea.
Yep. Yeah. And one thing, I don't know how deep we're going into this, but the meddling in other relationships. I think the biggest thing when I was in the process, I was like, I don't know these people. I want to keep a boundary out, just to try to make it work. Let's just make a little bubble and interact sparsely. But I feel like nowadays everyone is so intertwined, like they become really tight and then start affecting relationships.
Yeah, and I think our seasons, there was a bit of meddling here and there, but nothing like what it is right now. It does really seem like that core group of girls did at one point, decide, or maybe it was over time, I don't know, that none of their relationships were working out, and they just seemed like as a team, as a group, out to get the guys, and seemed there must have been some sort of, and not saying the guys were angels. I'm not like team whatever the guys' names are, but it did just seem like this, girl power click that was probably, I'm sure, like happening behind the scenes too. And I don't think we've ever seen something like an allegiance like that before.
Yeah, where everyone's teaming up, and the other thing is, it's one thing to have an issue with your spouse and say this, but it's another thing to fire at other spouses. Like, hold people accountable by all means, but to have it like a consistent thing where I'm going to come for you, like, you got your own, and we have our own issues to deal with here. Let the host do their job, like, I don't know, that to me is like, I don't know, if I was in that position, I'd be like, look, you need to stay in your lane, like, stay out of my relationship.
Yeah, I was, though. I would say there were disappointments with every single couple this season. The one that I was hopeful for was Michael and Chloe, and she was just so accepting of his quirks and his uniqueness and everything. So I was actually kind of sad when he said no.
Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think I think the term, that to classify it as fake, like, I feel like that's a harsh criticism. I think that they presented themselves, and who wouldn't present themselves in a situation, like, obviously you want to show your best self. But I do think that the I don't know, maybe the discord that people had was, if this person is only going to present themselves in the best of light or in a positive way, then we may not be able to get how they truly feel. And I think that kind of goes to, and they talk about it a lot, the whole aspect of people pleasing. And I think it's like, okay, well, if everything's always all good and, whatever, well, eventually you're going to have to express some hard things, right? Any relationship's going to get into conflict, and you're going to need to speak up on your behalf, and you're not always just going to say, yeah, no, it's all good, I'll do whatever. So I think that, but again, I don't think at any point that they were like misrepresenting themselves in their true feelings and essence, but I don't think they always would reveal everything. And like, I think that's to a degree understandable. But I think as the season went on, people saw that, okay, well, they're not faking it. You know what I mean? They're not like pretending to be in love. They're feeling each other out, and they're both unsure as a result of where things stand.
Yeah, and I think that she was careful with her words, as you should be, and did try hard to really be positive and to put her best foot forward. I like that about her, and him too, but I was just so disappointed. Did you think Michael was going to say no?
Well, because of the way that, like, I think he handled every situation well. And even in the beginning, when she kind of seemed to be more of the uncertain person, and he was like, no, it's all good, it's all good. You can say it's all good to a certain degree, but that type of energy is going to give you doubt. So I think as a result, it made me think, okay, how is he really feeling? I think all the other things that were put on the table in terms of the expectations out of the relationship, her hopes and dreams, because he didn't verbalize it enough, unless they did, from what we saw, they didn't get to compromise, or he kind of took it as, okay, that's my fate, or from what we saw, if we stay together, aside from whatever they have in the relationship dynamic, that's not his dream of the future, because that's a lot to expect from somebody.
Yeah, I know, but I think we did really see an avoidant side of him, a super avoidant side of him come out with that decision, because we all know, yes, they make a big deal about decision day, but all decision day is really saying is, will I give this marriage at least one more day? I mean, how many couples break up after decision day?
True.
A lot. And so I was just surprised to him say, okay, no, today forward, we're done.
Which means that at some point along that way, he eventually collected enough information to say, okay, I don't want to continue. I don't want to drag this out any longer than it has to be, because I don't see it working in the long term. Even if it's good, even if it's, has really great moments, this might not be my person, and whether or not he's always vocalizing how he feels, he's at least acting in accordance with what he feels.
I just hope that he did make that decision based on maybe some conversations we as viewers didn't get to see. Like, maybe Chloe did say, okay, I am hard set on having this many foster kids on this farm, and that could be a reason. Okay, you really want that life? I really don't. But how many times do I'm like, hey, I want 10 pet monkeys running around our place? Like, you can have ideas and compromise on them and this and that. So I just hope I just think he had a great woman there, and I hope he truly did not see a future and made the decision that way, because I just think she was great and I was hopeful for him. So that's all.
Yeah, and I do think, I do think that them walking away, it'll probably be almost a MAFS first, where people walk away and they genuinely still have a respect and care for each other after the fact. Like, I don't see them on reunion all of a sudden coming at each other's necks. I see them as like, oh, hey, it might hurt and we will get over this. But I think we both kind of feel and know that we're not right for each other. And there's no reason to make this ugly. I hope, I
hope we'll see what I feel like we've had a bit like Mitch and Kristen and
but I don't think they're in each other's lives. I could see them on occasion, at least until they get into new relationships, being like, hey, I hope everything's good with you, that type of energy of like, just, hey, we're able to leave this and still be cordial and maybe even friendly.
We'll see. We'll see. Tune into the reunion.
And I think it's in another week or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Wow, what are we going to do with ourselves this Wednesday?
Survivor.
Oh yeah, we watch. We're getting into Survivor. So because your birthday's in a couple days, and I have taken a lot of PTO and can't take any more because my family was just in town, and it's Easter. Happy Easter! Do you celebrate Easter?
To a degree. My sister-in-law is big on Easter. We celebrate at home. We used to have Easter egg hunts and things like that. Not like super heavily, but enough to get the family together, yeah.
All right. Well, lower your expectations from an Easter egg hunt right now.
Well, we had one the other day with the kids.
That's true. That's true. I thought about doing that, but, then I thought about sleeping in and how that might be a little more fun, and it was. But I did still... Easter and your birthday in a couple days, put together a nice little Easter basket for you.
Yeah, I saw you working on it. I haven't seen what's in it yet, though.
Do you want to open it now?
Yeah, here, let's clear out some space.
Why don't you move your books?
Here, why don't you break that thing out?
Okay, hold on. Let's move this. It's hold on. It has your name on it.
Oh, you even got my name on it.
Yeah. Careful, it swings in the back,
Okay.
The treats you have to share, okay? I don't know what that is.
Wow. This is so nicely put together. I don't want to break it apart.
No, break it apart. We got to see what's in it.
All right. We got a home favorite of ours, astronaut ice cream. One day we'll go to the moon and we'll be ready.
Yep.
Ooh. We oftentimes play Connect 4. We make it Connect 3 for fun.
Something I can handle.
On our trips. That's fun.
A travel Connect 4.
And just for the record, Connect 3 is you don't stop at 3. You just keep going, and then you count how many 3s you get. They recorded some of the Easter basket stuff. Okay, yeah, the camera just cut out while we got a bunch of prizes. This is probably my favorite. In case you didn't get the astronaut ice cream, thank you so much. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Happy early birthday.
Pick your favorite color so we can cheers too.
Good.
All right. And it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Thanks for having me as a
Nice
guest. I
having
had
you.
fun.
It was great having you as a guest.
Best podcast ever.
Now let's eat this candy.
All right. Shut.